with Sherry Bronson.
First of all, I want you to tell us about the mission of All Women Marching for Hope, and tell us about how you're empowering women's lives.
Oh, it's exactly what it says. All Women Marching for Hope is bringing the awareness about domestic violence and what you can do to come out of it. And our mission is every time that we go out and we minister to those that are afraid to come out of the comfort zone, we're like the coming out of the comfort zone for them, to let them know that we will be a voice for you, and whatever we can do to get you out of that domestic situation,
Exactly.
That's what we're here to do. We chose Austin, Texas, because this is where laws are being made, and we just making a statement on today that domestic violence has been quiet for so long, and now the ladies and the men that are out today, we're like waking up that giant that's been asleep. Well, we're here representing today. Can I get a... Yeah, that's what it's all about.
Wake up and smell the coffee. Wake up, America, and smell the coffee. That's what we're going to talk about, because we have a lot of women that's in violent situations, and they don't know they're in violent situations. They're just staying there and hanging there, and I'm mostly talking about myself. I was in a violent situation, and I did not know I was in a violent situation. My husband didn't hit on me, he didn't beat on me, but it was a mental thing. Did you know a violent thing can mess up your mind? My mind was all messed up. It was so messed up, I ended up in a hospital. One day I couldn't walk because my mind was messed up, saying that I could not walk. And I was in a hospital, and they thought it was my heart, and it was my heart. And it was hard after stress for living with a man for over 13 years, telling me I wasn't worth anything.
And I tell you, when I said it's ugly, it's ugly. Oh, I know some of you say, well, it's not me. I don't go through that. That's not going to happen to me. This march is not, that important. But baby, understand me. This thing is happening all around you. It's happening all around your child. You have a responsibility to speak out so they won't become the abused. They won't become the victim. Because trust me, if that thing not dealt with, that child of yours is going to become an abuser themselves. A lot of time they hold stuff in. Because you don't sit down and you don't talk to them, and we don't tell them, baby, you don't have to live like this here. You don't have to go through what I have went through. This is not right. This is not the norm. And so they grow up thinking that it's the norm. We made it. We made it.
Now, some of the women that you have marching with you, what are their backgrounds?
They are survivors. We don't call them victims anymore.
Okay.
They're survivors of domestic violence, and the whole concept of them coming out is to let them know that if it happened to them, it can happen to those that's still in the shadow of fear. So each step that we take, these are survivors that say, you know what, come on, you can step with us.
Yes, that's awesome. Now, Denise, I want you to talk to us and paint a picture of what the physical experiences were from your abusers.
Okay, from abuser number one,
okay,
it started out with the punching, but all of my abuse that I encountered wasn't external, it was internal. So you couldn't see the abuse part. But there are a couple of them that I still have, I have remembers of what it was. And this happened in school. And it was really gruesome at the time, because he took his fingernail and he dug into my skin. And I'm sitting in the classroom. And as I began to move my hand, the whole skin and blood just started running. I'm like, oh my God, now I gotta go to the nurse. And what am I gonna tell the nurse what happened? Right. Then you have to cover up that to keep it on the down low. And then from there, it went to a whole different level of abuse. So abuser number two was more physical, but you still couldn't see the damage. It was the punching and the hitting and all that, but it was never any scars where you could say, okay, well, she's being abused. I see her with a black eye. None of that. Right. But abuser number three, oh, come on now. They were internal, because if you would grab my arm, I would flinch in that area, because it felt like all this was fractured. But I was ran over, slapped, pinched, bitten, you name it, it was on me. But what
Hold on, you were ran over with a car?
A car, yes. I'm sitting there, you know, having a little confrontation with them, and I'm walking on the outside of the car. So he called me a name, and the name that he called me, I didn't answer by it, which was a fat black B word. And I got angry, and as I began to jump in on the passenger side, he took off. And when he took off, I slipped, and the left side of my body went underneath the car.
Jesus. For me, I have seen domestic violence. My mom was abused, and some of my sisters. But I always ask, why do women go back?
The back part is on an individual basis. I can tell you why I went back. I went back because of the sweet talk, that I won't hit you again, the feelings that was there. So you're trying to weigh it out, the good and the bad. Well, it ain't no more good. Once he hit you, it's over.
Do you think we can, blame it on self-esteem, or, not blame it, but per se, it's low self-esteem? Or
you can probably put it on all of that
okay,
because,
okay.
Until you know who you are, your self-esteem is low.
Okay.
And you're looking at
self-worth.
Self-worth, I'm not
that.
worthy of it because words hurts. Okay. And every time he tells you that you can't do something and he's drilling all this in your head, eventually you're going to start believing that I can't do it. But once you wake up and you see and look at yourself in the mirror and say, you know what, God made me. And he made me to be a vessel and to serve him. So if I'm not serving him, I'm serving this guy here, something is wrong with that picture. Then you start to focus more on who you are. And once you find out who you are, ain't no demon in hell can hold you back.
That's what I'm talking about.
None, not a one. When I came to know Christ, I was 16 years old.
Yeah,
of course I was growing. My mother, brought us to church and everything. But it's when I developed that personal relationship with God. That's what really kept me in the relationship that I was in for domestic, because I will always pray. And I say, you know what, God, I know I chose the wrong guy again this time. Would you help me? He said, yeah, I'm going to help you come out of this. But guess what? You're going to have to understand that you're going to have to love you first before you can love anybody else. But first, love me. Then I'll show you how to love. And that's where the self-esteem and all of the ability of who you are comes out. And you'll be able to step like I'm stepping. With my head up high, and I'm the queen that God has created me to be.
Awesome. Well said, Denise.
Loose from the chains that bind you, loose from the mess that find you, loose to a future with possibility. Loose from the fear that grips you, loose from the blocks that trip you, loose to a brighter day. Sing it with me. Just say this. Here we go. Woman, woman, woman. Point to yourselves. Say, I am loose. What? Let me hear you say, woman, 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 woman. Say, I am loose. Say, woman.